What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Before we get into the video today, I just want to make a one channel announcement. I do offer one-on-one coaching. The link is down below if you want to book my time for professional development, personal development, accounting, audit, or anything you need help on. Happy to work with every single one of you. All right, now that we got that out of the way, is public accounting? I got a question from a subscriber the other day, and that is public accounting the best option for a recent graduate? I personally believe it is, but today I'm going to go over the 5 reasons why I do believe that starting your career in public accounting when you just graduate with your accounting degree is probably the best use of your time and the best place for you to land right after graduating. So the first thing why I think public accounting is the best option for a recent accounting graduate is that the fast-paced working and learning environment. I can tell you from personal experience that when I started working in public accounting, it was like drinking out of a fire hose the first year. The first year was definitely very intimidating sometimes. It was a lot to take in. That being said, I grew up so quickly. Back in when I started my career in public accounting was 2014. And I seriously, I would think I was 22, 23 at the time. So I had never had an internship before. I never had really any real corporate experience before. As if you guys know my story, I worked at Chipotle for 5 years throughout my undergrad before, graduating and getting my accounting degree. So I literally just was rolling burritos. That's the only thing I did before issuing $1 million financials. So it was a big change, and it made me grow up very, very quickly, and it made me adapt. But that being said, that's the reason why I think I've been in public accounting so long, is because the fast pace of the job. You go from engagement to engagement. You're expected to kind of learn a bunch of things all at once, and I think that really makes you grow a lot, especially as a young CPA, a young accounting professional. I think that's what we should all strive for, because you want to build the skills of a solid baseline foundation to where 3, 4, 5 years from now, you can then take those into whatever it is that you want to do after. But that being said, public accounting, in my opinion, is unmatched when it comes to the fast-paced working and learning environment that you're going to be. And also with that, you get exposed to so many different things in your first year or two. I remember my first year in public accounting, I worked on a consumer products company. I worked on an industrial products company. I worked on a construction company. I worked on so many different things that helped me kind of decide after a year, 2, 3, where I kind of wanted to really focus my efforts in, what industry I really liked. And also with that, your first 2 years, you really are learning how to audit, and with that, the basic accounting knowledge that you can parlay into everything, literally everything. I can tell you, when I've talked to so many different people that are in so many different professions, that when I talk to them, the fact that I know how to read an income statement, I can look at a balance sheet, I can look at a statement of equity, I can look at a 10K, I can look at any typical business financial report. I can look at it and give me a minute or two and I'll be able to understand it. And that's because of my career, and that's because of the years that I've done in public accounting. Even that being said, I think 2 to 3 years in, and you have a good baseline accounting, and if you start an audit foundation, to be able to take that wherever you want to after. So yes, I think the first reason is because being put in such a fast-paced and hard-working environment it really makes you mature very quickly. With that too, I started my career so young, and I was speaking to corporate controllers. There was a smaller company that I would talk directly to the CFO. And with that, you're some kid straight out of college, and you're expected to have these conversations with these very experienced people. And like the good old saying is, you are who you hang out with. So that being said, being in an environment where you're working with really smart people, you, for some reason, through whatever it is, you elevate to that level of expectation. The second thing, the training you get in public accounting is unmatched. Whether you're going to go to a physical formal training, but when I talk about the training, it's not so much where you go to some location. I know different firms send their people to different locations across the country. I'm talking about on-the-job training. The level of training I got my first 2 years was, when I talked to other peers that maybe didn't get into public accounting and they went into private straight out of college, I could just tell there was a certain level of difference in the technical expertise that I had compared to a lot of the friends I had that didn't go into public accounting. Just because, and I will say this too, especially during busy season, and it is busy season right now, the hours are definitely a lot more during this time. That's not like that all year, okay? But during this 3-4 months, they can get a little tough. With that time, you're exposed to so much, and the on-the-job training, I was just after 2 years in public accounting, and I'd consider it more so 2.5, 3. I was a completely different person. I was a completely different individual. I didn't even recognize the person that graduated from college to who I was now. Because a big thing about public accounting is that it gets a bad reputation sometimes, and I don't feel people really take advantage of, is the fact that you should look at your first 2-3 years in public accounting. Sure, you're making a pretty decent salary and you're making okay money, but don't look at so much how much you're making. Look at how much you're learning, because that baseline foundation, that learning that you're going to get, you can take that into anything. And every person that I talked to that was at a public accounting firm, who knows, maybe they freaking hated it, right? They didn't like public accounting at all, but they did their 2 or 3 years, they got their license and they left. I've talked to a few people that were like, dude, I couldn't do it anymore. I didn't like it. But I always get the same thing from them when they say, I am so grateful that I did my few years there, because I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for that. But because, like I said, if you maybe like it and it's great and you can build an awesome career for yourself, great. And then I think you should stay. But if you feel like you got what you were going to get from public accounting, then that's when, in my personal opinion, you should start thinking, okay, well, I built a good baseline foundation for myself. Maybe now it's time to, utilize my skills elsewhere. So the training you get in public accounting, especially the on-the-job training, the level of commitment you get from your teams to make sure that they have a vested interest in making sure that you understand what you're doing, because then it makes their job easier and my job easier. That level of training, especially when it comes to just basic accounting and audit topics or tax, is going to be so crucial to your overall long-term development in your career. So again, I think starting your career in public accounting, you just can't go wrong. And the learning, the on-the-job training you get is just unmatched. The third thing I think that you get in public accounting, coming straight out of college, is that you get trained to be productive. You get trained to just think on your feet. You get trained to think really quickly, and you get trained to just problem solve. A lot of times, especially in audit, there's certain times when clients give you not the best documents, and they give you something that's not very easy to understand, and you have to kind of step up to the plate and really take on that initiative to understand what you're doing, to understand the concepts. Again, I preach this on this channel a lot, is that your first year in public accounting, you're definitely going to be super lost. And trust me, I've been there. It's very, sometimes it can be frustrating and demoralizing, but I promise you, if you stick at it, if you continue it, regardless if you do it long-term or not, the years that you're spending at your public accounting firm, I promise you, if you make the best of them, it'll train you to think differently. It'll train you to think faster. It'll train you to be more productive. It'll train you to be a problem solver. It'll train you to think on the spot. If you really take advantage of it, it'll make you a master in Excel. I don't use a mouse. I preach not to use a mouse on this channel. It'll train you to do so many things that sometimes other companies won't. And that's just, the reality of it. And you can tell, 2, 3, 4 years coming out of school, especially in your accounting colleges, people that went to public accounting firm that were there for a few years and then exited, the opportunities are also a lot better, but there's also a difference in the level of expertise. Then the fourth thing, the skills that you learn at a public accounting firm are super transferable. I can tell you now, I've been doing it for 9 years, and I've worked with so many people in my career, and great, smart people that I've been very, very fortunate to work with. But that being said, the skills that I've learned, I've been able to, even when I was a corporate controller, they were just transferable. Even though I've never had done, prior to me taking the corporate controller role, I had never worked in private accounting in my life. Never. I didn't understand the processes. I didn't understand their business as far as kind of how they did things internally. But 2-3 weeks in, because of the baseline foundation that I had built, I was running the whole department. I was running the books. I was understanding how they were doing it. A month in, I was able to pick up on $1 billion company, how they manage their assets, how we account for certain things, how our relationship with the bank, because I have experience dealing with banks, and my private companies do that. So many different things that when I was a corporate controller, I was like, man, I am so grateful of the years that I put in at the firm, because I would be having such a difficult time being able to adapt very quickly if it wasn't for those years in public accounting. The Excel skills you build, the accounting knowledge you build, the audit skills, the being able to develop relationships with people, the having presentations, the being able to, work on certain things, and then if more things come in, you're able to kind of manage your plate and say, okay, maybe this is more important, maybe that's more important. There's so many skills that are super, super valuable, and spending some time at a public accounting firm can only benefit you in the long term. And it's really up to you on how you want to leverage and parlay those skills into whatever you want to do long term. And the last benefit, in my opinion, is an easy CPA license sign off. Obviously, the CPA license isn't easy. I didn't say that. I meant when you actually go through the licensure process. Once you do the hard part of your exams and you pass the ethics portion, you do still have to get signed off by a CPA. And I've had friends in private industry that have done their licensure, have done everything else, and at times it's they have told me that it's difficult for a CPA to actually sign off on their license. I literally have one friend who did all the exams, passed everything, but has never really worked under a CPA, and they're just having a difficult time being able to get signed off with the licensure. Obviously, they're in a different state, but that being said, it depends on what state you're in, but it's usually a pretty simple process, and the firm is, wherever firm you're at, is vested in you getting your license, because there comes a certain point in your career, it's pretty much at the manager level, that you cannot be a manager in public accounting if you do not have the CPA license. So typically firms do also provide an incentive bonus if you get your license, and they obviously most firms provide free training materials such as Becker, CPA, Roger CPA, or other review courses in that, so they can pass the exam and you can continue to progress in your career. But overall, in summary, I do believe public accounting is the best place to start your career. That being said, it's not like if you don't join a firm, your career's over and you're not going to be a successful person. No, not at all. I don't want you to get that message from this video, but I will say, I think public accounting firms, especially in your early years, are the best place for you as a young accounting and CPA professional to start your career. And again, I've had friends that were in tax and now they have their own tax practices because they did 4 years at a public accounting firm, and they were able to leverage that into their own firm because of the networking, obviously because of the technical skills, and so many different things that you learn at a public accounting firm that sometimes working at a private company you just won't get. And last thing I will say, and I didn't write this one down, but it just kind of came to mind, and as I was talking, is the networking aspect of it. You meet so many different people, and I can't tell you how, even when I started 9 years ago, now those people I started with that I still have a relationship with, that I'm still talk to, I try to take out to lunch, we go out to dinner, they're now sending me client work, they're now referring me, they're saying, hey, now 9-10 years in, I have friends that are now corporate controllers, VP of finances. One of them is a CFO at a smaller company. I mean, I have friends that are in just so many different areas of life and different professions, also in different things, that they're like, hey, we need a system implementation. I know Brian, he works at a public accounting firm. Cool, let's get him in. Hey, I'm a controller at a private company. I know Brian specializes in private consumer products companies. Let me call him up. I need an audit. That's a big part of my career progression being so quick as a senior manager now, is because I've really leverage my relationships to the best of my ability, and I've always maintained and try to cultivate them, because not only from a business perspective, but also just the more people you know, the better. And the more people, not only that you know, the more people that know you and know what you do, it's going to be a mutual beneficial relationship for the long term. And in my opinion, I think that it's like the good old saying says, your network is your net worth. And public accounting, starting off there, really helps you cultivate the skills that you need to really build that. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the video today. If you found value in the video, please make sure to smash the like button below. Until next time, work hard, dress well. Peace.